Braxton Jones is back. Yeah, that's right. I'm excited about it. Kalif Raymond is here as well. Free agency rolls on. Hoge is hot and ready to go. So is Braggs. The CHGO Bears Podcast starts right now. Looking live at the two latest free agent acquisitions, staying in-house and going up north to Detroit to bring in Kalif Raymond to return some kicks, catch some balls. Here we go, live from the Xfinity Loft as NFL free agency rolls on. Mark Carman and Greg Braggs in studio, and Adam Hoge from his palatial estate in the northern burbs. Look at him, just ready to rock and roll. I called you Hot Hoge today. Do you feel like that's is that too intense to start the show? Because I don't know where that came from, to be honest.
I'm actually kind of cold right now because, it was 70 degrees yesterday. Now it's not. Now I'm just cold again. It's going to storm.
But you got a good hair flip going on, the two-tone coloring, the background is hot, the upper level earbuds, everything's going well in your land. And then there's Gregory over here who is covering up well.
What hat is that? What hat are you wearing?
You'd have to ISO cam. I was just talking about that white hats really as much as I like. I'm a big hat guy. I'm not a shoe guy, but, this hat I got at spring training, and it's a nice hat. But, white hats just do not play well on screen, so I'm just going to have to give it up.
Okay, no one cares. Back to
He asked. What do you mean nobody cares?
I understand. Well, it was a bad question by Hoge, and then you leaned into it, which made it worse. All right. The last night we were driving around, at least I was driving around, and the news came down that Braxton Jones was back. There's a cat, and that is good. That is good content.
Yeah.
Tony was asking where the cat was. He's actually right here. He's chilling.
Dude, that's a cool cat, too, by the way, everyone, just so you know. Tabbies all day.
That's a very, very cool cat. And all of a sudden, everything just feels more peaceful here on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend as we do shows 52 weeks of the year, 5 days a week, 1 o'clock Central Time. Let's rock and roll. But yesterday, we say on this show that whenever news breaks, we're coming at you with an emergency pod and whatnot. And then Braxton Jones came back last night, and Braggs was like, "Let's do a show," and then everyone else was like, "Yeah, we're fine." So the excitement was not over the top last night for the Braxton Jones, part tour, year 5 tour. But I think that's unfair to Braxton. Braxton's been on the show. Braxton is a quality human being. Braxton worked hard behind the scenes last year to get healthy. The Bears have seen it. He's apparently working hard right now with Darnell Wright and down south getting ready for the season. He looks good. The Bears felt well enough to give him $5 million guaranteed. He can make up to 10. And I know it's not super exciting, but I salute the move. I don't dislike it at all. I still think that Theo Benedict could win the job. I'm curious to see if there's a miracle Karana Amagaji, and Ozzie Trapillo will be back at some point. So I don't hate what they did here, Hoge. Where are you at?
I'm gonna go back, rewind a little bit, because part of my, sometimes I would say most times when we're reading things properly, kind of, writing on the wall, things like that, it usually goes the way you think it will, but it doesn't always. And I think this is one of those indications or situations, I should say, because I'm going to go back to the week of the playoff game in the locker room during the week. And obviously we know Ozzie's hurt and Braxton's coming back. And I'm like, I'm going to talk to this guy because it seems like he could be in play to play, right? Like he's back from his injury. He's off of IR. They need a left tackle. Why is nobody talking to Braxton Jones, who's standing right over there in his locker? And so I went and talked to him, and my takeaway from that 2-minute conversation was, I don't think Braxton Jones is playing, and I don't think Braxton Jones is going to be on this team next year. that was just like the tone of the conversation. Like I felt like he was sort of just like on the outs with the Bears, with his coaching staff, whatever. And evidently that's not the case. And I think that, when you really look at the decision they made that week to play Joe Thuney, they just felt like that week for that matchup or whatever, that would have been interesting if they had won, what they would have done the following week against the Seahawks. I don't know. What I do know is that Braxton Jones was never healthy last year. He wasn't really healthy in training camp. He had atrophy in his leg. He obviously suffered a setback. He didn't play well at the start of the season. Now, that's no guarantee that he's going to come back in 2026 and be better. But what I do know about these contracts sometimes when they're set up the way this one is, it's essentially, 1 year, $5 million. If you play and you play well, you're going to get paid a lot more money, and you're going to hit the market again, and it might be a win-win for everyone. It might buy the Bears a year till Ozzie gets back, and it might get Braxton Jones a great contract going forward. Maybe he even cements himself as the Bears' future left tackle. I think that's all probably like best case scenario and maybe not the most likely scenario. But obviously the Bears. And I think the other thing real quickly to keep in mind is that Ryan Poles drafted this guy. So he might have been new to Ben Johnson. He might have been new to Dan Rochar last year. But the front office still drafted Braxton Jones. They know his history. And so now they're coming together and maybe meeting halfway and saying, let's give this guy another chance and see if we can get him healthy and playing more like he played 2 years ago instead of last year.
I'm definitely surprised. I mean, that was the biggest thing when it happened, just based off of everything we saw in the last year, through training camp, then in the season when he gets benched in the Raiders game. And, as you mentioned there in the playoffs when he certainly was an option, and then they go with Jordan McFadden as their guard, as the best five, and so, yeah, I guess I'll just start by saying this because, I think yesterday I said it on our 3-hour free agency podcast, so you might have missed it, but even throughout last year, when we had these debates in training camp last year, I'm not a big fan of Braxton Jones, respectfully. I think he's a good story. They had good value from him where they drafted him, but I just feel like he's always been the same player he's been throughout the years. He doesn't have a good anchor. He's an average, maybe slightly below average left tackle, in my opinion. And there will be a lot of people that'll cite PFF metrics and things of that nature to show why he's actually a very good left tackle. But my eyes, I'm just going to trust what I've seen over the course of 5 years of watching him play personally. And I just don't think he's a very good left tackle. That being said, I understand the arguments for why they brought him back. And number one, who else were you going to bring back? I think that's a very fair argument. I can't name other left tackles that would have been a better option on the market. And I know a lot of people pointed to Taylor Decker, but he's going to cost a lot of money. And so from this regard, I think number two for Braxton Jones, which goes in his favor, you're not paying him that much. So it's not a huge risk. And you need to have left tackle options in your room before you even get to the draft. So, and then number three, ultimately, as I've said for the last week, Ben Johnson can do whatever he wants. He has earned that right, and he has earned my trust. And if that's the biggest surprise to me, is that based off of this decision, that tells me Ben Johnson saw what he needed to see from Braxton Jones in the last year to say, yes, I want this guy back in our room, and he just may very well be our starting left tackle next season. So that if that's the case, so be it. I will defer to Ben's judgment over mine.
So I don't think I'm talking out of turn here, but to Hoge's point, like when I talked with Braxton multiple times last year after he got hurt, and because again, as somebody put in the chat here, nothing gets Carr more excited than a quality individual. That's true. I like good people, and Braxton Jones is absolutely that. So, I would just make a point of, like, you don't just talk to guys when they're going well. I talked to Carman a ton last year, another five, by the way, phenomenal dude that I'm rooting for here or wherever else. These guys are good dudes, and, it'd be great if they can help the Bears, but it'd also be great if they can have a career in the NFL or whatever they're going to do. Regardless, my point is this. Braxton said, he's like, you can see where it's going. Like, he said that. Like, it was obvious to him that he's going to be out of here. And it was pretty much obvious to everyone. And But nobody thought that Ozzie Trapillo was going to get hurt at the end of the year, and the Bears were going to be in this really awkward position. If Trapillo hadn't gotten hurt, I don't think you'd have Braxton back. But he did, and now you're in this spot. What are you going to do? You're going to spend premium draft capital on a left tackle when you just used a premium, a second-round pick last year? So it just spun that he gets an opportunity here, and maybe he'll play great. Listen, he's had a year plus to work on his body and take all the lessons that he had in his first 3.5 years playing the game. So, listen, this could be a win-win for Braxton and the Bears, which I think basically Hoge just teed up that, hey, man, if he plays great and it's not a great fit here, maybe he goes and gets paid, elsewhere. And by the way, if he loses the job, I think he's a quality swing tackle. If anything happens to Darnell and or Theo down the line. So
yeah. So you guys remember my roster tiers project I did last year when I ranked everybody, and I'll be doing that again this year. But it's been a useful tool this week as we kind of see the roster churning, players coming off, players coming back on. I'm going to actually, little tease for diehards, kind of use this for some content here in the next week or so to kind of help illustrate exactly what the Bears, less about like who they've lost and who they've gained, but more what they've lost and what they've gained. But where I'm going with this is, so last year there's in the tiers, you have your all pros, your blue chip players, your red players, which are good starters that you win because of, and then you have solid starters that you win with. And there's a black line under there before you get to all basically the reserves and the special teamers and things like that. And that black line, your goal as the talent evaluators of front office is to not have to start players below that line, right? So I had 2 players right above that line, like right at that line, but above it going into last season when I did this project. Those 2 players were Olamide Zaccheaus and Braxton Jones, okay? And I think Olamide showed you, like, yeah, he's right at that line, but by the time the year was over, he's probably bouncing around that line somewhere. You don't really want him to be a starter, but he can help you. Braxton Jones, I think that's the question mark because he was never healthy last year. What can you really take from last year that, where would you accurately put him going into this season? I mean, if you just go off of last year, you probably move him below that line, which I think we were all sort of doing in our heads, and we thought the Bears were doing too. But evidently, my guess is they still view him the exact same way. Like, he's right there. They believe he can be a serviceable starter that you win with the rest of the line around him. But it is a question mark. And so that's where I think, like, you got to see the competition play out. I don't think this job will be handed to him by any means. But because he is right there at that line, this is somewhat of a risky move.
Well, also, agree, might not work. Could be a waste of $5 million, sits on the bench, doesn't play at all, and you get marginal, and Theo's not good enough, and you're basically compromised all season long. You got to put extra little help over there, that's not how Ben wants to operate. On the other side of the coin, just on a slight positive that I'd go with, because the dude didn't play a lot last year, his body is way less dinged up. There's a lot of recovery there. So plus on a 1-year deal, super motivated, super healthy to prove that he's can last in the league. I like all of that. Not that he hasn't been motivated before, by the way. I've seen a lot of the motivation thing, and I just said it.
I just think all that's like a coping thing. All right, we'll see. And I'm rooting for Braxton. Like, even if I'm not a big Braxton Jones believer, we need this to work out. I mean, what happened to the Bears offensive line in the last 2 months is devastating. You go from having all 5 of your offensive linemen solidified and going into a big offseason to 2/3 of your offensive line gone and not out of anything the Bears could control. And so you certainly can make a fair argument that they've now downgraded at center and left guard compared to what they had last year, or left tackle. Thank you. And so that's really concerning to me. And I think all things being equal, we'll see it play out at training camp, and Braxton will have more of a fair shake at trying to truly win that job than being given that job by default as he was at training camp last year, at least from my eyes. But, as somebody that isn't a big Braxton believer, the one thing Braxton Jones is good at is run blocking. He's not as good of a pass blocker. Well, the one thing Theo Benedict is good at is run blocking. He's not as good of a pass blocker. So it's a pretty even race, and if I had to bet my early money on it, I'm still taking Theo Benedict. I like the physicality that he plays with. And there's obviously a little more, at least opportunity for room for growth, in my opinion, as a guy young in his career versus Braxton. He is who he is. And I get people that are trying to sell me on the hopes of Braxton elevating this year. Forgive me, but it's a wait and see. But I totally understand the move. I can say all these things, but still understand the logic of the move. They don't have depth at their tackle position, and there wasn't many guys on the market that you could reasonably bring into this roster. He comes in at a cheap cost. He was here last year. He can either be your backup or your starter. May the best man win.
All right, let's come on back here and get to the Kalif Raymond part of the news. And also, Hoge is going to go through the Bears draft picks. Get excited here. 25, 57, 60, 89, 129, 239, 241. We're doing it all coming on back. But first, want to shout out our friends at Xfinity and their 5-year price guarantee. Imagine what Greg Braggs will look like in 5 years. It's going to be amazing. What happens? Trust me, it ain't going to be reliable. It ain't going to be intelligent. But you can't have that with your Wi-Fi. That's what you got with Xfinity. Shout out to our friends at Xfinity. All the devices working at perfect harmony. You know that it's not going to be perfect harmony in the Braggs world. This is going to be for a whole 5 years. The best part, by the way, Gregory, no annual contracts, no hidden fees, the best equipment included. 25,000 people in your house using the Wi-Fi. It still works amazing. Lock in your price. Unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity. Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions do apply.
That's right. I'm a proud Xfinity customer, and I'm also a customer of our good friends over at Four Seasons. And if you're making sure your home's up for the heating challenge, that's who you're going to hit up is Four Seasons, because winter isn't completely gone just yet. Don't think that spring is here. We're going to get that second winter that we always do. And if you're thinking about a whole home generator, you might want one tonight. If you're in the Northwest Indiana area, I can tell you that, because I know there's going to be some bad storms in even Chicagoland too, I've been seeing, so be careful out there. And with Four Seasons, they guarantee a same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs. No extra charge for nights, weekends, or holidays. They always take care of you fine people. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. So visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. And make sure you tell them that CHGO Bears sent you.
Kalif Raymond, come on down. You're the latest free agent on the Bears. Price is Right. It's actually, it feels like it should be like Price is Right time, 10 to 11. You ever watch The Price is Right?
Of course. It was a great show.
Are you too young to remember Bob Barker?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, good, because that's when the show was
one of my favorite morning routines.
Right, Miss
School,
fake sick,
Miss School.
Yeah,
Price is Right all day.
It's so good.
The yodeler going up the mountain.
Oh, so good. Do-do-do-hee-hoo. All that. All right, back to Hoge. You're our special teams guy, so you get to break down Kalif Raymond the first. Are you excited about this? How you feeling?
I am excited. I just can't believe you're not having a freak out because Geno Smith just got traded to the Jets. What that might mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Great move by the Jets.
Geno back to the Jets. That's crazy. Yeah, that's
Start his career
crazy.
there?
Feels so good.
The Jets are nothing if not entertaining, right? I mean, no one ever knows what they're doing. Most unpredictable franchise ever.
That puts it in perspective, right, Hoge? I mean, compared to what we're talking about and stressing about this offseason, and the Jets bringing back Geno Smith.
Just for anybody,
that would be like if the Bears brought Trubisky back.
Right.
I'd have a heart. That's on the board after the latest 3-year extension for Case Keenum. Make that a 2-year extension. That's wow. What a performance. Okay, back to Kalif Raymond. What do you got?
Yeah, I like this signing a lot. I think it's it serves a lot of purposes. One, we've talked about this a lot. I know I've talked a lot about this. Like, Devin Duvernay was a good returner for the Bears, but he lacked that top end gear. There were probably 3 or 4 times during the season where I thought you make one more man miss, you get that little extra burst of speed. And the Bears might have had a touchdown. I think at minimum, Kalif Raymond probably would have scored at least one touchdown with some of the opportunities last year that the Bears had. I think this is overall a pretty good special teams unit. They're doing a pretty good job of bringing some of these guys back, like Daniel Hardy. They already had Josh Blackwell locked up, and we'll see if they can get a couple more of these guys like Elijah Hicks to return. But Kalif Raymond, he's a two-time second-team All-Pro punt returner for the Lions. He can also kick return. Now, he didn't do that as much as punt return, but if anything, I thought the punt return game was where the Bears were lacking. Like Duvernay was pretty good in the kick return game. I thought the punt returns kind of always left a little bit of meat on the bone there where they could have gotten more. So I like it from the special teams perspective. Also, not only does he help you replace Devin Duvernay, but he also helps you replace Olamide Zaccheaus, because he can give you 20 to 40 catches depending on what his snap count ends up being. We don't know that yet, but he can give you that, and he knows this offense. He was in Detroit with Ben Johnson and Antoine Randall, so they obviously like him. So in a weird way, this is like a 2-for-1. You're almost replacing Olamide and Duvernay at the same time here. Now, you add up the contracts of those two guys, and that's what you're paying for too here, because he's making, it looks like $5 million, a little bit touch over $5 million, which is more than those two contracts you had for Olamide Zaccheaus last year and Duvernay combined. But that's only one roster spot, so it gives you a little bit more roster flexibility elsewhere. So I like this signing a lot.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there. It checks two boxes, and ultimately, it gives you some security in that room. I mean, with Colston Loveland becoming, really their wide receiver one option, even though he's at the tight end position, you need that veteran type in the back of the room. And I hear what you're saying about, replacing Olamide Zaccheaus' production from last year. But, my first thought of it was like, okay, just like we're talking about with the left tackle situation at camp, like I think that's going to be another battle at camp with this position here coming up. I think Jahdae Walker has every opportunity to take the production that I think Jahdae could easily. What did Olamide have last year? 30 catches. Jahdae Walker can do that, and if you think that sounds silly, look at the positions they trusted him in at the end of last year. They kept him. The first sign was keeping Jahdae Walker on the roster, when cut day came for the regular season. But then at the end of the year, to not only, put him, give him meaningful reps in some of the biggest games that the Bears have had in 15 years, he caught one of the biggest catches the Bears have had in 15 years, in the corner of the end zone against the Green Bay Packers. So while the sample size is small, I have really big belief in Jahdae Walker's opportunity to be that wide receiver 3. And then Kalif Raymond, I think, fits in perfectly as that fourth option veteran person in that room, knows Ben Johnson's offense. So I think it's a win-win, because if Jahdae isn't ready for that role, then you have Kalif Raymond as the veteran there.
You would have made a much better argument if you had mentioned his biggest catch of the year in the final preseason game on fourth down from Tyson Bagent in the right corner of the end zone. An absolute,
what a huge pressure moment there.
Well, it was, and you just left that out because that guy was trying to make the team at that point and had to show, at that point he probably hadn't made the team. Then he made that catch, and then he did. Biggest catch of his life. You left that out. Listen, I'm in on Jahdae. Let's see what he can do and whatnot. But I also do wonder if, Hoge, do you think there's one more wide receiver free agent coming in here, or do you think they'll address it in the draft? Because this is not DJ Moore and Kalif Raymond. This is more some combination of Olamide, Devin Duvernay, Jahdae, whatever you want to say with Kalif.
Right, because, so you have Rome, you have Luther Burden, you have Jahdae Walker. Otherwise, you're just going down into your practice squad guys like Maurice Alexander and J.P. Richardson. So you add Kalif Raymond to this. Yeah, you're adding someone else. But it could just be a draft pick. It could just be, an undrafted free agent. It wouldn't shock me, and this will be a good transition to what the Bears do have in terms of draft capital here, because we're going to talk about that next. But, I could see Ben being the type of guy that likes to add a wide receiver every year. through the draft, but depending on if it's the best player available, what kind of value. But from what we've seen so far, I don't think they're going to shy away from, if the right wide receiver falls to the Bears at a certain spot, taking that guy if it fits what Ben wants to do offensively and if it gives them a different wrinkle. There's a lot of good wide receivers in this draft this year.
Okay, let's get into the draft thing. We're in about 7 minutes or so. We're going to have Bob Stelton on from 710 out in Seattle as we'll take a look at Kobe Bryant and what the Bears are getting there. But, Ho, you wanted to lay out the draft scenario here, what the Bears have from 25 and all the way on down. So let's start at the top. How are you looking at this?
Yeah, so this is just because the actual draft order was released this morning. So we've kind of known what it was in the first few rounds. But once you get to the end of the third round, that's where those comp picks get added. Of course, the Bears didn't get the comp picks, but that sets the rest of the draft order the rest of the way. So good exercise just going through what the Bears have, what they've traded away. But the Bears do have 4 picks in the top 89, which we knew. So they have their own pick at 25 in the first round. They have their own pick at 57 in the second round. And then they're getting the Bills' 60th overall pick from the DJ Moore trade. Now, they also gave up their 5th rounder. Remember that. They had to kick in their 5th rounder to get that second round value in the DJ Moore trade. They also have their own 3rd round pick at number 89. So those are the 4 picks in the top 89, 25, 57, 60, 89. Now, had they been given a comp pick, which they didn't get, it would have been right around 100, 101. So they could have had 5 picks in the top 100. They didn't get that one. So their next pick is in the 4th round at 129. This is the pick they got from the Rams. Remember last year, actually probably most fans forgot this. That's kind of why we're doing this. In the middle of the draft last year, the Bears were on the clock in the 5th round, and they traded back to the 6th round. The Rams traded up, took the Bears' 5th round pick. In order to do that, they gave the Bears their 4th round pick for this coming draft. So that's why the Bears still have a 4th round pick, because they originally traded this year's 4th round pick to Joe Thuney. Hopefully everybody's following. So this year's 4th round pick went to the Chiefs for Joe Thuney in that trade a year ago, but they replaced it by trading back in the draft last year. So they do have that 4th round pick. It's just the Rams 4th rounder at 129. Everybody following so far?
Yep.
Okay. And then the 5th rounder I mentioned went to the Bills in the DJ Moore trade. The 6th rounder was the Joe Tryon-Shoyinka trade. Everybody remember that one? So 6th rounder they had to send to Cleveland, but they also got back the 7th rounder in return. So that's why they have 2 7th round picks. They have that one they got from the Browns in the Joe Tryon-Shoyinka trade, and they also have their own. So overall, 1 pick in the 1st round, 2 picks in the 2nd round, 1 pick in the 3rd round, 1 pick in the 4th round. So 5 overall picks in the top 129. But then they do not have any more picks until they have 2 shots at it in the 7th round. So that's just going to kind of restrict them a little bit in terms of moving around in the 5th, 6th round, maybe giving up that another pick for next year. I got a lot of questions earlier about what about the 5th round pick they traded for Garrett Bradbury. Remember, that's next year's 5th round pick, similar to what they did with Joe Thuney last year. It's next year's pick. So we'll see. Maybe there's a way to reacquire that through the draft like they did a year ago.
Yeah, and I definitely think that there's a chance, depending on how this draft falls, that you're going to see some trade backs, maybe even in the 1st round. You don't know. I mean, I think this is maybe that type of year. I mean, they're clearly trying to get as many draft picks as they possibly can. Obviously, we've really beat the 2 3rd-round pick conversation to death, but not getting that was a pretty big deal, and it doesn't look like they're trading Tyson Bagent, and that could have helped with draft equity, but I think having that backup quarterback is probably a much better value than getting a 3rd-round pick for that. So, they're going to do what they can here in this draft. Obviously, they still have many holes to fill. But I think they did enough work here in the last 24 hours that now they have an opportunity to build the rest of this through the draft. I mean, I can't really see them making too many more moves here in free agency, maybe short of, a 1 year small money, veteran safety type. Like I don't see Kevin Byard on the table anymore.
Well, I wouldn't completely rule it out until they actually sign somewhere else. But yeah, that's kind of where the signs are pointing. But getting back to the draft picks, I mean, the point of us just doing this is now that you know that it's all out, what the actual picks are. This is all viewed as currency, right? When you're in the front office, you're trying to make these moves. You're looking at them like assets that you have to use. And so, a couple years ago, remember they were kind of front loaded in all their picks. They ended up trading back into the draft to be able to go get Austin Booker because they had similarly traded away all those late round picks in other deals. This year is kind of similar in that they don't have a fifth rounder, they don't have a sixth rounder, but they do have two seventh rounders still to use. So when you're even thinking about during the draft, day 2, day 3, when you always see a bunch of trades, this team just moved up for this. What did they give up? That's why it gets so confusing with some of these moves. The Bears do have those 2 seventh-round picks. Maybe that's something they can package together to maybe turn that into a 6-rounder or something.
Hoge, we'll see you in studio tomorrow. We got Bob Stelton out at 7:10 in Seattle, so we're going to talk some Kobe Bryant coming up here. Great stuff as always, my friend. We'll see you tomorrow.
Kobe.
Bang. Kobe Bryant. All right, we're going out to Seattle in a second, but first. Hey, thank you to our friends at Old National Bank. Whether it's on the field or in your financial life, the best teams, Gregory, they win by delivering excellence at every level, which is what you do on a daily basis over here, buddy.
Thank you.
You probably you'd fit in perfectly at Old National Bank, where they believe that every play matters, every podcast, every social media post, everything. Just like that's why they're a great partner for us. Old National Bank, everyday checking to long-term planning, commercial banking. Their team is here to build momentum and help you move the ball forward, just like Braxton Jones is going to do this year. It is a partnership designed to help you feel supported, not just today, but well into the future. So whether you're celebrating a win, rebuilding after a tough loss, or gearing up for whatever comes next, they've got your back with tools, insights, and an expert crew that's always in your corner. Old National Bank, member FDIC, where relationships and results matter.
Absolutely. And got to hit up our friend Ray Scarpelli and the good friends over at Ray Auto Chevy. Scarpelli's on the free agent beat as we speak.
He loves Kalif Raymond.
He loves Kalif Raymond, as we all do. And hey, man, listen, the shot clock is ticking, and it's your chance to shop buzzer-beating deals all month long at Ray Chevrolet during their car clearance madness event. Stop in today and drive home with 0% financing for 72 months on new Chevrolet models, or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. They have Chicagoland's largest inventory of Chevy models. You're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you, just as Mark Carman did once upon a time. And their raised price promise lets you shop confidently, because the price you see is the price you pay. So shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since
1963. The Trax is coming up on 40,000 miles. Together, let's drive. All right, we're going out to Seattle, but actually Arizona, because we're going spring training, but he's covering the Mariners, but he's also talking footballs. Bob Stelton is the man out west, and you can hear him on the afternoon show, 7:10, Seattle Sports. Hopefully his connection will hold here in the desert. Bob, thanks for making a couple minutes for us. We appreciate it. What are the Bears getting in Kobe Bryant?
You guys are getting a hell of a player, man. You guys are getting a player that nobody wanted to see leave. They got a group of free agents, and we were debating every day who's staying, who's going, who do you want to stay, who do you hope they retain, who are you okay with leaving? And there was kind of a consensus, like, all right, yeah, Ken Walker may leave, and Tariq Woolen may leave, and Boye Mafe and all these other players may leave, but do what you can to keep Kobe Bryant. And unfortunately, he's going to Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I
like
guess.
That, Greg? You like that?
Yeah,
Greg?
that's exciting, no doubt about it. I mean, obviously, this defense showed its worth, throughout the regular season and all the way to a Super Bowl. And so I'm just curious, when do you feel like it turned the corner for him to where he went from, a solid player to this elite level talent that obviously you guys are going to miss now?
I would say last year because he had dealt with some injuries, and in Pete Carroll's system, it didn't quite suit him. I mean, he's a guy who was a tremendous cornerback at the college level. I think he was like 3-time All Big 12. He won the Doak Walker Award. He was a tremendous corner, and then he started playing more safety out here, and then that transition was a little bit slow. And then when Mike McDonald came in, it just seemed to suit him. That defense just seemed to suit him, and he was playing free and easy, and he's an incredibly physical player. He's a guy who can still play corner. He can play safety. He's really versatile. He's very, very intense. I don't know. He's just a guy you want on your team. You know what I mean? I'm not telling you he's an all-pro and he's the best safety in the league, but he just fits, and he's just such a solid piece that you can count on.
So copycat league here, Bob. Everybody wants to do what Seattle did this year. How would you underline what the Seahawks were able to do to climb the mountain and get it done?
You know, it's hard to explain because anytime we talk to a player on defense and talk to him about McDonald's defense, they're like, you have to have a Harvard degree to understand it. So, and that's coming from the players. But it seems like once it clicks in, once it makes sense to everybody, it's hard to pinpoint one thing that makes it click other than there's an incredible sense of selflessness. Everybody is there for the other guy. Nobody cares who gets the sack, who gets the pick, who gets the tackle. It's about setting up the other guy. If I got to take on a double team, then my guy is going to get the play. He's going to make the play. And it sounds hokey or it sounds kind of cliche or cheesy. That's what worked. And you heard it unprompted from those guys on both sides of the ball the entire year, but specifically defensive. They work in concert together, and they really do not care who gets the stat. And I think that's a hard thing to achieve in today's game where guys are looking at their next contract, looking at their next deal, and stats matter, you know? So it's just the culture is probably more important than actually the scheme to a certain extent with this year's team. And the culture was unbelievable.
Yeah, rewinding back here to Kobe Bryant a little bit, I just watched, like, looking through him a little more extensively in the last 24 hours. Definitely seems like he's a willing and able tackler, like some really good tackles on tape, but also seems to cover a lot of ground. I was watching a post-game interview where Mike McDonald talked about how smart he is and how he covered some things up on broken plays. So I guess my question to you is, like, what would you say is his best attribute?
Adaptability. He can, wherever you want to put him on the field, he's going to excel like it's his natural spot. Whether you've got him up in the box or you've got him playing in cover two, it doesn't really matter. And he's a guy that has a nose for the ball. And again, another cliche I'm throwing at you there, but he's a guy you just rely on. He's incredibly physical. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He's not small, but he plays big. He's a hitter. He's a very willing tackler, to say the very least, and he's there when the play is made, and he's a guy that, like I said, you know, is he an all-pro? Is he amongst the best in the league? I wouldn't put him there, but he's a guy you just love having on your team. He's just, you know what you're getting. You know he's going to be there. You know he's going to make the play. He's not perfect, nobody is, but you know if he's anywhere in the vicinity, that play is going to be made.
All right, Bob, I'm not going to ask you like how he did on his homework in high school, but we got a zillion questions here on Kobe. Do you think he's a leader in the locker room, or do you think he's more of a I do my thing and you can pay attention or you cannot pay attention guy?
I think he's growing into being a leader. I mean, you had veterans on this team like Leonard Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence, guys who are the old heads in the locker room, as they like to say. So, but he's a guy that I think is growing into being a leader, and that's being available. You know, like I said, he dealt with some injuries earlier in his career, and as he became more available and more relied upon, if you will, he was growing into that role. So he's not an overly vocal guy, but his football IQ, just to address that, is off the charts. And I think that's part of what I was saying where, you know, if a play needs to be made and he's in the vicinity, that play is going to get made. So he's an absolute gem.
Let's talk about you for just 1 second, because you got one of the more fascinating bios in Twitter, Instagram history. Outside of doing 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports 710 AM out there, it says you're a black belt. Is that right?
Yeah, in jiu-jitsu, 14 years.
Wow.
kick your ass, Braggs.
It's a good thing I wasn't running my mouth. I was at spring training last week. It's a good thing we didn't cross paths. I was drinking a lot.
This could be the toughest dude we've ever brought on the show, Bob. I didn't want to let that go without we're getting you up close and personal with the facial right now, and the smile is there, but you could and I me and Bragg, sometimes we like each other, sometimes we don't. So this is just an asset that I'm going to claim as mine. Go ahead, Gregory.
No, thank you. I don't know why you just threw that to me after that, all of that. I guess my final thing, just so we can get a dunk on our rivals in the NFC North, but how shocked were you now that you've been through a whole year? You got to, cover a team that won a Super Bowl. The Bears were so close, and I was dreaming of being able to go to Radio Row in San Francisco and cover the Bears. I can't imagine what that was like for you guys out there. But at the same time, just to dunk on the Vikings, how shocked were you that they let Sam Darnold fall right into your lap?
I think they showed way too much faith in J.J. McCarthy, a guy who had not thrown a pass at the NFL level, and they were making a big bet, and it didn't pay off. They had Daniel Jones as well there, so they let two guys go that are now turning into franchise quarterbacks for their respective teams. So a massive mistake on the Vikings' part, without question. And they better hope that J.J. can pull it together and stay healthy this year, because that's going to go down as one of the all-time worst moves when you've had both those guys in your building and you let them go.
How do you, a Bears fan's dream of, finishing the job against the Rams in the divisional round after an unbelievable touchdown pass from Caleb Williams to Cole Kmet, and there's all these woulda, coulda, shouldas, what ifs for Bears fans. How do you think a Bears-Seahawks NFC Championship game would have went?
I think the Seahawks would have won. I just think this defense is smothering, and you saw it in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. I mean, Drake May had a horrible game, and that's because of this defense. Drake May had an MVP caliber season, but this defense just absolutely smothered him, and that was their claim to fame. This team lived and died by the defense. Now in the Rams game, in the NFC title games, Darnold was amazing, threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He was fantastic, but he didn't need to be that guy in the Super Bowl because the defense was just so dominant. And as much as I like Caleb Williams, and I think he's going to be a great quarterback in the future, I think it would have been a rough day for him.
Final thing, because I know you got to go, but I do think this is interesting from a Bears perspective. Bears are trying to build their defensive line. They have needs at D tackle and D end. Mike McDonald had a really interesting quote I saw a few weeks ago where he talked about the ability to have dominant defensive tackles that not just get to the quarterback, but are able to stop the run and give you that cover two, and the safeties are able to do what he wants to do in that defense. What advice would you give to what the Bears are trying to do, or think that the priority should be on the defensive line?
Well, look, everybody's got a different scheme, and McDonald's is different from what's going on in Chicago, and Chicago's different from what's going on in Minnesota. So the biggest thing that I've noticed with McDonald's is finding the right pieces, and pieces that didn't fit in other systems. And somebody like Ernest Jones with the Rams, where they just let him go. They just said he doesn't fit what we want to do here. He went off to Tennessee. Seahawks were able to get him from Tennessee, and he fit perfectly. And that comes in a season where they had signed 2 linebackers to start the season. In the middle of their first season, Mike McDonald got rid of both of them and just said, yeah, it's not working, doesn't fit. I mean, he's very decisive, makes his decisions very quickly. If something's not working, he's going to address it. So to me, the biggest key with that, whether you're talking to edge, whether you're talking interior line, is they don't have to be, like I said, all pros. They just got to be guys that fit what you want to do. And that's the biggest thing. There aren't many superstars on this defense to this point. Devin Witherspoon and Eamon Rory are growing into that. But you've just got a lot of guys that work in concert together and just fit the scheme. So to me, having the right personnel sounds like an obvious thing to say, but it truly is. And that right personnel isn't always a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro.
On the right track with Kobe Bryant.
That's right. Bob, you're first class, man. You got your show coming up. You're at spring training making time for us. You don't know us from Adam. We appreciate it. It was good information, man. And it also says you like animals more than people, which is an elite choice, by the way.
Exactly right.
Yeah, because they're better. I mean, let's be honest.
Absolutely.
No doubt. All right, man. Hopefully we can do this again sometime. If maybe we'll see you in the NFC Championship game. That's the plan. There we go. Let's go.
Let's do it, man. Look forward to it.
All right, Bob. Thanks, man. Bob
Take care.
Stelton, 7:10 a.m. out in Seattle.
I'm pretty sure the Bears play the Seahawks this year. I haven't.
Do they?
I think maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, and the schedule isn't for a couple months. But I thought they did. And if they do, we'll talk to Bob.
There we go. There we go.
There you go. They play at Seattle. Yeah, that's right.
I think we made a friend.
So maybe we travel out to Seattle. I'll take some jiu-jitsu lessons, and we'll see what's what.
That dude would whip your ass. All right. Final moment in time, and then we're coming back with a special Greg Bragg segment that you will never want to miss or forget. But first,
got to give a shout-out to our good friends over at Huel. Listen, I'll tell you when Huel is going to save you. When you're ready to drink, whether it's breakfast, post-workout, meetings, school drop-off, errands, always good for the errand boys. They got to have their Huel. So, listen, I am somebody that's big on protein goals. Believe it or not, I really am. I make sure every night to hit my protein numbers, and Huel is going to help you do that. They have 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals. No artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. It's gluten-free, and best part is it's under $5 per meal. It's a complete meal you can literally grab and go, and it's, again, like I said, under $5, way faster than meal prep. So for a limited time offer, get Huel today with our exclusive offer of 15% off online with code BEARS15. New customers only. Thank you to Huel for partnering and supporting our show. That's Huel.com/Bears15. If you're busy, this is a game changer.
I had one last night before my match, and I lost, but it's not Huel's fault. And want to give out a shout-out to our friends at Hooters. They got the deal of the season going on right now. You can get 10 boneless wings or 10 buffalo shrimp. Tough call right there. Once you make that call, get it with the curly fries or the tots, and you get it all for just $9.99. That's sweet. Their big fish sandwich is amazing. It's perfectly seasoned. You can do it you can get it grilled, you can get it blackened, you can get it hand battered and fried. It's a perfectly tender cod, straight delicious. They got the 1 pound of successful snow crab legs as well. Do it all at one of their 11 locations, 11 of them. My favorite is right downtown on Wells Street, but Orland Park, O'Hare, Oaklawn, Melrose Park, Lansing, Joliet, all over the place here. 11 locations. And yes, they got the drink of the month as well. Catch the madness all month with the mango mojito for just $8. That's a delicious blend of Bacardi rum, mango puree, lime juice, and mint. Check it out, originalhooters.com, originalhooters.com. Great spot for your Big Ten tournament viewing tonight. Huge game, the 15-seed Northwestern Wildcats and the 18-seed Penn State Nittany Lions. Dial it in, dial it up, get over to Hooters. And then I guess your Boilers are playing later in the week.
Yep, I'll be at the Big Ten tournament. Going to pick up my credential here in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, Bragg's just saying that because yours truly, Mark Carman, who has been working alongside the Northwestern broadcast for 48 years.
The turntables.
Didn't get credentialed.
Not so funny anymore.
Not credentialed. Only so many credentials available.
Hey, Braggs, can you get me a credential?
Yeah. Sure.
All right.
Bragg's in the stands credentialed over WGN radio. That's funny. Honestly,
I thought
that's funny.
maybe, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, maybe I can.
Moron in the stands over legacy radio station.
I was thinking to myself, I'm like, maybe I can get Karma credential.
Dude in his garage over Carm.
He can be my assistant, and then I get him in. Then
AboveGroundPool.com over Carm.
Yeah, if I get you, I'll walk over there today, see if I can get you a credential, and you can be my errand boy for the week.
Dr. Pepper Light over Carm.
Yeah, well.
Bad hat over Carm. It's okay. No, don't worry. I'm not bothered by it. So quickly on today's news, the Jets trading with the Raiders, Geno Smith reuniting, going back home where they drafted him back in 2013. What's the deal? Well, the Jets are sending a 2026 sixth-round pick, a sixth-rounder to the Raiders. They get Smith, and they get a seventh-round pick back. So, yes, we'll take your old man garbage to be our quarterback this year because we're tanking. And as far as I could tell, the market for Tyson is over because I would assume they're doing that to start him.
What about the Falcons? They got Tua.
The Falcons.
I keep forgetting they got Tua.
The Falcons have Tua. The Cardinals went in yesterday on
Gardner Minshew,
and they're starting Jacoby Brissett. So I think it's very clear that Tyson and whatever market the Bears set for him, people were unwilling to meet it, and he will be back in Chicago as the elite backup for Caleb Williams, and I'm enjoying that thoroughly. Thank you.
Let me ask you this. There's two options I think that are, still on the table. One I don't see happening at all because it would be in division, the Vikings.
Right.
There's no way they trade him in division, right?
You wouldn't think so, no.
And then the other one is, interestingly, the Raiders have said that they kind of plan on not starting Mendoza as, the starting quarterback that starts the year. With all the draft capital they have, do you think the Raiders would consider swinging a trade for Tyson?
When you say all the draft capital they have, can you be specific about that? Because I want a second round pick.
I'll be specific for you because I was looking at Tankathon and who has the actual most value in the entire draft, and the Raiders are at the top. So Steve, what's Steve?
Well, that's because they have the number one pick.
Well, they also have the 14th pick, and they have the 36th pick. They have the 67th pick.
Which 67th is?
That is the fourth pick in the third round.
That's close. That's close because I got dunked on a few weeks ago. We keep talking about this topic, but I said a second round pick. That's but I'm not budging for a third round pick. Now that high in the third round is because I know we were talking about the Cardinals. They had the first pick in the third round,
right?
And so for me, I had a bunch of people going at me. I'd take him. I'd give him up for a fifth. He was an undrafted free agent. Well, I'm pretty sure all these other teams like the Jets, getting Geno and the Cardinals paying $8.5 million for Gardner Minshew, they'd have given up a fifth-round pick for Tyson Bagent as opposed to those deals they just made. Tua, with Falcons, all right, fine, take a swing there. I don't think it's a good move, but obviously they feel differently. But the point is, clearly to me, the fact that Bagent wasn't moved when he was floated at the Combine shows you that they had a pretty high-value mark on there. Now, the Raiders are still interesting because I agree with Steven that I think this could be a potential team because if you aren't going to start Mendoza right away, you could bring Bagent in, let him start 10 games, and now you can use Bagent next year as trade bait if he potentially plays well in Las Vegas. So, will it happen? I doubt it. Do I want it to happen? No. I think Tyson's value is best served here in Chicago as the backup quarterback because more times than not, you got to rely on your backup quarterback. And, you saw Denver found that out the hard way in the playoffs, and that's obviously an isolated incident, but still I think is a fair warning for teams that are trying to move off of luxuries like the Bears have in Tyson Bagent.
Yeah, so look, I think it's very clear that the Bears did put a price tag on Tyson that the NFL wasn't willing to meet. Now, it's a tricky thing. The guy has started 4 games, and that's all the way back in his rookie season. So how much are people going to look at what he did in the preseason last year and go out and say that I'm making this guy my starter? Now, if I was the Arizona Cardinals, if you had a half a clue, that would have been a way better move than going with Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew. Like Arizona.
Well, maybe they do have a clue. Maybe they're trying to tank and they say, hey, these options are worse for winning games.
Well, okay, and that's I suppose a fair argument. If you're really just going for the tankathon, and that's your plan, okay. Well, okay then, fine. And maybe the same thing with the Jets. But look, Ben Johnson loves Tyson Bagent. The Bears coaching staff loves Tyson Bagent. Ryan Poles loves Tyson Bagent. There was a significant price tag on him. So, and I see in the comments like Bagent's not. You don't know.
Well, yeah, that's
you don't know,
and that's where I was going to
quit acting like you do.
That's where I was going to go with it. It's scroll up because we've done this dance at the Combine, but I see Dalabar saying Bagent's value isn't a second round pick. To me. I just or no, he says Bagent isn't a starter in this league.
You have no idea.
Well, Ben Johnson said at the Combine that he's one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Maybe I'll go with Dalabar over Ben.
So, Dalabar, do you trust Ben Johnson or not? And you can be like, oh, he's just trying to drive his price up. No, Ben Johnson loves Tyson Bagent. So he doesn't agree with you, Dalabar. And then, of course, Cornell Bryant, who wants to go 15 rounds on the fight against Tyson Bagent. saying,
Cornell,
going up here a little higher, Steven, local media, Bagent fans are overhyping his value. No, Ben Johnson is hyping his value.
The Bears.
We understand Carm is, the resident Bagent guy. He stuck that flag in the ground a long time ago. And so
and you can all thank me for being right. Damn it.
Well, we do.
Thank you. Yeah. Way to go, me.
So I think this.
You think the Case Keenum's gonna beat about Curb? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we'll see. And I look
Case Keenum Curb.
I look forward to the day that Bagent can prove this conversation on his own accord. I just hope, for the sake of the Bears, that it is on another team, because obviously if it's on the Bears, that means things, Caleb got hurt or things, like that. That's not where I wanted. So yeah, getting a second round pick for Tyson Bagent would have been nice, and then he could have proven Carm right. But for right now, I'm going to be selfish, and I know how badly Tyson wants to play, but I need him here in Chicago as the backup right now, because you need those insurance policies, man. He's a very good quarterback.
Tice wants to learn from Ben one more year, bottom line.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you, right?
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
I saw Impossible Pie, and I just went the other way and saying Johnson isn't going to – you were asking for a tennis story, Impossible. Now you're going to say that Johnson's going to come out and say Bagent sucks. No, he's not, but he could have said something along the lines of what he said with DJ, and then they traded him. He didn't have to cough into the microphone and say no and talk about how much he loves him.
Yeah,
and
when John's asked about DJ and whether or not he's going to be on the roster, is he somebody that has to be on your roster as one of those foundational pieces, or are you going to have a conversation? He didn't go, no, let me, we're going to keep DJ. No, he said, no, we're going to have a conversation. Yeah. That's what he said. Yeah. So, you guys can play this game, but you need to listen to the coach.
Or also pay attention to what they do. They could have taken the best offer and moved on. They didn't do it.
Jim Richels in the chat, resident Lions fan, calling, you guys think Ben Johnson is a football god. No.
Yeah, we do.
He's a demon, and he's ruining your life.
We absolutely do.
1 year in with a team that had a pretty bad defense, went on to win the NFC North.
Yeah,
and you guys beat us twice. I remember. I know that, and you still couldn't win the division because Ben Johnson did. Enjoy that one, Chim.
Yeah,
and
Chim.
Stick it up your Chim hole.
Yep, your Chim hole.
One thing I like going back on with when the day that Tyson Bagent signed his extension, do you guys remember what Ben Johnson said about him? He said he reminds him of himself. And, that's one of the highest compliments Ben could have given to Tyson Bagent. Yeah. So, and that's all the way back, almost a year ago now. He's not saying that to drive up his value, which I'm seeing a lot of in the chat. He's saying that because he genuinely believes that this guy is a football-aholic. That's all he lives, breathes, and sleeps.
Yeah, I agree. Early on when Tyson first got here, Connor was freaking out about it. I'm like, all right, just relax. He's a solid backup. Arm strength may not be, up there of guys that can be a starter in this league. First year in against, when this was a Bagent versus Justin thing and Rick Tellender's writing articles and getting everyone pissed off. I was more on the side of all right, chill out on the Tyson thing. But now it's been, 3 years here? And in the last year with Ben, if you watched him operate at training camp, you watched the way he operated in the preseason, and I understand that we haven't seen him in the regular season in quite some time, but and then you hear the way the coaches talk about him. The league was calling about Tyson Bagent, so I have been convinced on the other side when Carm used to be on an island. Now there's all sorts of people in the media trying to plant their flag as the Tyson Bagent guy, and Mark Carman was the first to that mountain.
And also from the Bears' standpoint of getting the value that they would have taken, it's hard to get that value. He's thrown 5 passes in the last 2 years that have meant nothing. Caleb has been healthy.
I agree. The only reason I thought there might be a chance is this is a quarterback league, and the quarterback market is dry. You got the Jets bringing back Geno Smith. There isn't much quarterbacks to be desired in the draft. All of them are developmental projects. Even Mendoza is going to take some time. Mendoza isn't at the level of a Caleb Williams or Andrew Luck, even though he won a Heisman. There's still some question of how he's going to be in terms of his play at the NFL, although I certainly have belief in him because he certainly showed a lot of moxie and toughness here in the last year and has some precision passes as well. But again, the quarterback market, so I do think eventually there's some leverage there with Tyson. As we get to the top of the hour, want to remind everybody to become a diehard here at CHGO Sports. Use the QR code here on your screen if you're watching on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe and whatnot. Use the code JAHNS. You get $36 for an entire calendar year. That gives you access to exclusive written content. Fran Duffy's draft guide as we inch closer and closer to draft day as we've officially hit overtime here on CHGO Bears.
What a phenomenal performance by Gregory, PL, and Braggs, just doing the tradition like a complete pro. This guy's unbelievable. All right, just wrapping up. Tomorrow, we're not 100% certain when our show will be because the Bears might be having press conferences they have not announced yet. So Ryan Poles is expected to talk. I'm not sure if Ben is talking. Regardless, so showtime could move tomorrow. Pay attention to our Twitter, CHGO Bears, or just call Greg Braggs up. His number's easily available, and you can ask him when the show will be.
Do we not have any super chats?
We might. Well, I got a couple.
Adam Hoge is in here to ask. I gotta get my super chat into Adam Hoge so he can answer my question.
Okay, just
Giggities. I can't do my super chat today because Hoge isn't here to read it. I love Adam Hoge.
Okay, all right.
Where's John?
Let's not get sensitive over here.
Hoge, John's aren't here. I'm leaving.
Okay, all right. I don't know where that's coming from. Hey, can I ask you a question just real quick? Because Kevin Fishbane, the great Kevin Fishbane, has been watching, and I just want to ask you a question. Greg, what
Fishbane's doing what?
He's just asking me so he wants some Northwestern conversation, which nobody wants, but I do want to.
Is he watching the show right now?
Yes.
He is.
Yeah. Well,
tell him to put a super chat in if he has a question.
Well, I just want to ask you a question. What's better? 17.9 points per game or 22.7? 22.7 or 17.9? What's better?
Say that again. I wasn't listening.
22.7 or 17.9? What's better?
Well, it depends, but probably 22.7.
I think 22.7 is better. I don't think it depends at all.
Sometimes less numbers is better than more numbers when you're talking when you're stepping on the scale.
Well, okay. All right. Well,
so
yeah. Let me ask you another question. What's better, 4.9 rebounds per game or 6.2 rebounds per game? What's better, 6.2 or 4.9? 6.2 would be better, right? What's better, 2 assists a game or 1.9 assists a game? Would that be the same, or is that the same?
2's better.
Okay, 2's better, but generally the same.
What do you want?
Nick Martinelli led the Big Ten in scoring, and the sad ass morons who vote on these things put him on the second team All Big Ten and put Price Sanford from Nebraska.
Price Sanford's a bucket.
Yeah, okay? He is, and he's got 5 less points a game. So
I'm not going to hear any complaining after Chris Collins won Coach of the Year over Matt Painter.
It's got nothing to do with anything.
Purdue won the Big Ten regular season championship.
That's a different. There
I
you
didn't
go.
hear any complaining then.
Well, yeah.
What's better, the amount of wins Purdue had that year or the amount of wins that Northwestern
Somehow he turned this into a Purdue argument.
Yeah,
do you think the leading – hold on. Do you think the leading scorer in the Big Ten should be on the first team All Big Ten?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, done and done. Now
well, they just sucked all year,
They lost a ton of close games, and it was a tough year. But they didn't suck. They
got much better here at the end of the year.
They should have been Purdue the other night. They had a zillion tough losses. I don't want to talk about that anymore. But the point is that they got it wrong.
Go on a little mini run here in the Big Ten tournament. They got the home crowd behind them. I better see Fishbane out there. I know that.
Yeah. All right. Here's another one for you, Gregory, if I may.
Depends on what you're doing.
Well,
maybe you may.
No. Listen, we're gonna delve deep into the draft tomorrow. In addition to whatever, if there are press conferences, we'll obviously play a ton of what Ryan has to say about what the Bears have done this far. But let me just ask you on the way out here: what do you like most about what they've done? What do you like least about what they've done as we get through at the end of day 2?
How can you not be? Obviously, Kobe Bryant leads the way here, and that. interview there, bringing
very exciting.
Bringing it. Yeah. I mean, and obviously too, like, I wasn't going to sit here yesterday and act like a Kobe Bryant expert. I know, he certainly was one of the more intriguing options in the safety market, but after the Bears acquire him and you dig a little deeper and you start to look through things, you can see, like, as it was said, like, this guy can fill a lot of different roles and plays all over the football field. I love the way he tackles, and he definitely has, a lot of range. He closes, when the ball gets put in the air, he can close really quickly. He's got a lot of ground that he can cover. So, I like that addition. I still worry a little bit about that safety room. It doesn't seem like Brisker or Byard are coming back. Hoge said it's still on the table, so that intrigues me, because if you combine Byard there with Kobe Bryant, you're talking about maybe the best position group of the whole team with those two safeties up there.
It is until it isn't. You would be I would be very surprised if Byard's market completely collapsed where the Bears could justify paying both him and Kobe Bryant.
So, and then obviously my worst, and this isn't, like, everybody thinks it's like a personal attack I'm going at Braxton, but this isn't a personal thing against Braxton, but, like, that's the worst thing for me. Like, the fact that that's what we have to settle for as our left tackle, potentially our starting left tackle next year, from where we were 2 months ago, it's depressing. And you're not going to sell me on Braxton Jones, being able to get stronger this summer, and he's going to, be motivated because he could have a big contract next year. He's got to prove it. And I understand all the good arguments that you can make of there wasn't any other options out there. You're not paying him that much. Ben Johnson believed enough in him to bring him back. That's all fair. But when we get to week 2 and Caleb Williams is having to spill out of the pocket and run for his life because Braxton can't protect the edge, I'm not really going to care that he makes $5 million on the salary cap.
All right.
So, like, for me, that's, if you ask me my best and worst.
Okay, fair enough.
Where it is.
Fair enough. I'll just remind you that before he got hurt, Braxton was a very solid left tackle when you consider he was a 5th-round pick. Maybe
that's the whole charm.
Hold on, but maybe arguably Ryan Poles' best draft pick, which I think plays into why he would want to give him another opportunity here. He clearly appreciates him more than you do. He's never embarrassed himself out there, and I get a little bit sensitive on the motivation thing, which I think I actually said on the show today. This dude's always been motivated. Braxton's a worker, man. This is not some guy that, like, needs a fire lit for him. He's just, this is not for lack of a better way of putting it, his booty ain't that big. So he's, so it's hard to play left tackle in that spot. He is more top heavy. So it's just physically challenging for him to be elite. I mean, you need to the best left tackles are going to have a huge ass, which is why you should have been a left tackle.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest depression for me of the whole thing really is I thought I was finally done with the good fight with Guy Finley over this, and me and Guy went 12 rounds all of last training camp about Braxton Jones, and he's lecturing me that I need to just believe in Braxton because the coaches know more than me, and just kept hammering me to death about that. And then Braxton got benched 3 weeks into the season. But I guess that's what we'll do.
All right.
Hey, I trust Ben Johnson with all my heart. And I've said it a million times, and I'll stand by it. He can do whatever the F he wants. He can. He's earned that. Yeah. So I'm not questioning anything he decides on this team. He'll do what's best. And the offense will be good. The offense is not the concern for this year. How they're going to patchwork this defense together to put out a much better effort than they did consistently next year. The offense is always going to score points.
So that's the conundrum, by the way, which is what I like most and also what I also like least about what's going on right now. Because how are we getting to the quarterback? Well, that's clearly coming in the draft. So that part of free agency right now, it's what I like least. But also what I almost like most is that you didn't overpay for an edge who you're going to get mid-production from. So like $30 million, $40 million, That's the market right now. It just underlines you have to build through the draft. They're too expensive. You can't tell me that the Bears should have made any of the moves that anyone made. I wouldn't have given up multiple first-round picks for the top of the market, Max Crosby. Maybe the Ravens will, reap the rewards of being that risky. But I'd bet against it. I don't like it. That's the first time they've done that. It might be the last time they've done that for what they're actually going to get from Max. I mean, maybe he'll play big, but to me, Baltimore is way shy of making that move. So I respect the fact that the Bears are being disciplined, but I also, like, as they sit there today, you haven't addressed anything up front outside of a rotational player that at best will be, sort of a cute piece. Listen, they're gonna have to have a huge draft, and you're gonna be when your highest pick is 25, you're gonna have to hit on somebody that a bunch of teams have missed. Mm-hmm. So it's not that easy to do, and that's where they're at.
Looks like we got some super chats in here after I threatened the chat.
You begged, you won.
See?
Cornell Bryant spending $20 today. Carm,
he's doing the kiss ass thing.
Carm, this is for you because I like to be in the Braggs doghouse. But wouldn't Bagent Bears want to make the deal now instead of next season when everyone is tanking in 2027 QB draft and Burrow or Stroud might be on the market in trade? You got to live in the now, Cornell, and you set a market now. And, you need 2 quarterbacks. So it's true they might get less next year. It's possible. But let's just imagine for a second that Caleb has to miss a couple games this year. Tyson goes out and wins you those games. Tyson plays well. And now you're sitting there with a 1 year on his contract. What are you getting for him? I mean, you might get more value in that scenario. And by the way, I think Ben Johnson and company believe that he will play well if he has to play. So that value could go up. You never know. Now, if he sits all year long, again, and Caleb plays 51 straight games to start his season, which is obviously on the table, but it's borderline unprecedented in the history of the NFL, then you might get less. You're absolutely that it could work out that way. And Cornell, way to be on my team. It's a good choice by you, even though you are aggressive, Cornell. He's an aggressive Cornell Bryant.
Yeah,
Kobe Bryant, Cornell Bryant.
Otto Jones. Yeah, fine. Otto Jones. Coming in here for $2 saying, here's $2 to stop your whining, Greg. $2 is not enough to stop my whining. And B, I'm getting sick of this where everybody's like, oh, it's not whining just because of my voice inflection. I can't control how my voice sounds. These two were making fun of how my voice sounds.
Want to give a shout out to our good friends over at
Love Huel. I have a little bit of Sylvie syndrome, okay? Like our voice is our voice. And I hate to bring Sylvie into this, but it's just the same thing. Like, I'm just saying, he has like
your voice is nothing like Sylvie's
I'm not
voice.
saying it is. I'm just saying like his voice inflection is not like, it's not like a quintessential radio voice, right? Like he
kind of is. It's very distinctive.
Well, it's distinctive because he's been on the air now for 15 years. But when he first 20 years, whatever.
30.
I'm sorry, I forget how old all you guys are. Never leave the industry, But regardless,
what else are we gonna do?
But I'm just saying, I'm not whining. It's just how my voice sounds. You want to find out how my voice can get? Find out, Cornell.
Yeah,
you find out.
Yeah, Carlos, $5 here. Thank you, Carlos. Fellas, thank you for all you guys do with Braxback. Healthy run game will be nasty. Hey, man, I am down for a moment this year where Braxton Jones is running down the sidelines doing the high leg kick to celebrating a touchdown run from DeAndre Swift. We've seen it before. Hopefully we'll see it again. And, Carlos, thank you for saying nice things to us. We appreciate it.
I know we're about to wrap. I wanted to get this point out earlier.
It's Carlos.
I said Carlos.
Oh, I thought you said Carl.
Okay.
Wanted to get this point out earlier.
Thank you.
Theo Benedette isn't actually signed yet. He's an exclusive rights free agent. So, I mean, we've been talking about him as like, oh, maybe he could have been the left tackle. That's not a guarantee either. He's even going to be on the roster next year.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, the Bears still have to sign him. I don't know what that number is going to fall at, but you also have to start looking at the salary cap and see how it's going to fit.
It is, I suppose, possible that they wouldn't bring back Benedette. But
I think he'll be back, but it's interesting that they're waiting.
Yeah. Well, I'd be surprised considering their lack of depth if they didn't bring back Theo, but I suppose it's possible. Let's wrap with this because I've seen a lot of people, like an endless amount of people, want to know about my tennis match last night.
Oh, God.
And
I actually haven't seen anyone. Type tennis into the chat and tell me there was one.
I think there was more than one.
Endless people.
Yeah. Well,
same idiot.
Impossible
Pie.
Twice. That counts as 2. Good job, Impossible Pie. So
unbelievable.
So last night, Braggs, after just a marathon day, NFL free agency, up early, grinding and out, getting on in here, 4-hour show, whatnot. Back at Bernfeld basketball tryouts, just to post game Wendy's, the whole situation.
I hope this guy chokes on his pie.
Yeah. So down 5-2 in the first set. Do you know how tennis scoring works, or are you probably not?
Not really. I mean, I vaguely do.
Okay. Anyway, 5-3, 5-4, 5-5. Up 30, love to go up 6-5. Lose the game, down 6-5. Serve is I win 4 points or 6-6 to the tiebreak. Playing Lucian, very good player. Down 1-0, down 3-1. Up 5-3, volley at the net. Didn't hit it firm. Lucian able to pass me. Should have had that point 6-3, 1 point away from the tiebreak win. Instead, it's 5-4, then it's 5-5, then it's 6-5, then it's 7-5. I lose the tiebreak, lose the set, and then I got smoked 6-0 in the second set. So, yes, there was another person. Torian was in there saying that I lost 6-0, 6-0. That's your second one. So, Torian, you were half right. I lost 6-0 in the second set as I completely ran out of gas.
Well, you're getting old.
Yeah, and then I came home, and there it is. Carm got the double. See, there you go. Torian.
Sorry.
But some of us are just out there still competing and putting it all on the line, and I had to go home and live with it. And, I'm just going to look in the mirror and realize that I got to get better. We're 0-1 to start the spring season after a 3-5 winter season. I'm kind of jet-like over here, but we're just going to keep battling.
When I look in the mirror, I feel like I got stung by a bee.
Well, we know that you're going to have a great spring season. You're going to be in the best shape of your life come training camp this summer.
We'll be ready for training camp.
You're going to be ready for training camp.
I made a promise to Pat McAfee at the Super Bowl Radio Row that I was going to come back to the Super Bowl Radio Row next year in L.A. when the Bears are there and be in good shape. That was a promise I made to him.
That's good.
And so far, I'm not delivering at all on that promise. I got to wake up.
You're going to get there.
So I'm just going to publicly shame myself every day about it until I wake up and start going back to the gym 6 days a week like I used to before I got on an escalator once upon a time.
How about we just go for 1 day a week? Let's get to 1. And then we could get to 2.
It's all or nothing with me. So it's like, 1 day a week. Yeah, it starts with 1. But, it's all or nothing with me, with everything I do in life.
Chuckles, by the way, is asking if I'm ranked. If you mean by, what level I play, 4.0, 4.5, somewhere in the middle there. If you mean, am I on the circuit ranked? No, I'm not. I'm a failed, miserable, mediocre recreational athlete who used to dominate on the hoop court back in the day, and then in my mid-30s had to move over to tennis because the body couldn't handle it anymore. And I'm planning on going till about 83, and hopefully I'll have a heart attack on the tennis court at that point and call it a career. That's the goal.
That's interesting.
Wouldn't it be a good way to go out? I don't know. I've seen too many 9-year-olds. It's tough out there. Although I think I can maybe make it to 93. Yeah. You got 41 more years than me, buddy. Maybe about 2 years, in this close proximity. Gregory, you did a great job today.
Yeah, adequate. Oh, here's Crystal. Finally.
Crystal,
Last
$10. Carmen, let me know when the next match is happening. I can bring good luck. Bragg, stop whining. Love you guys as always. Bear down.
Yeah, real good luck you brought going to Welsh Ryan last week.
She did.
She jinxed it. She was texting me talking crap. Both you two.
I didn't text you anything.
Yeah, you did. During the game, you were Clough.
Oh, yeah, I did Clough.
And so did she.
Oh, I told her to text
I
you
knew it because you both texted the same thing.
Clough.
And you both were pissing me off. I didn't respond.
Who's the
what happened?
Who is Clough?
Oscar Clough.
The Cluffer.
Yeah.
What a Clough.
He's from like Australia.
That guy should be our left tackle.
4th year senior transfer.
Clough should be our left tackle. What a goon.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's all right.
He's not good. He's a Clough.
He's a Clough.
He's the Clough.
He's a load down there.
Yeah, he's the big Clough. The big buff Clough. All right.
Well, I got to go. I got to go get my credential over at the United Center. So, for those of you that can't get credentials, maybe if you just keep working harder, man, one day you'll have your turn.
What year is it? 2026?
Yeah.
28 years in the business. Guyingarage.com, credentialed over Carm. It's tough. Yeah. It's okay.
When you have a vastly popular Boilers in the Stands podcast like I do, covering Northwestern, maybe one day you'll make it.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
No doubt.
Times are changing, Carm.
Yeah, no, I see it every day. It's really it's unfortunate. I can't stop it either. It's the way it is.
Legacy media is falling apart.
You're a snowball coming down the mountain that's just going to avalanche all of us. And it's not going to be fun for anyone. All right, have a great rest of your day. We're back tomorrow. Could be at 1, could be later. We will update if it gets moved. If you don't hear anything from us, we'll be here at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Hoge back in studio. We'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.